Okay, good. The most famous superstition of all, of course, is the never mentioned the Scottish play Macbeth, which no one's really sure, I think, what the origins of that is. But like actors take it really seriously. Like they take it really seriously. I have, you know, dropped the Scottish play title in a theater and like seriously got crap for it.
I assume you mean Macbeth.
And then there were a pile of them. So let's talk a couple of them, if anybody can remember them. One of them is whistling in the theater, which actually has a practical origins. But when I was starting off, I whistle, I sing, I'm constantly whistling. And when I started off in theater, I would whistle when I was in rehearsal, and I was whistling, and I got seriously chewed out by some actors. This is like 20, 30 years ago. And I guess the origins of that superstition is that if you whistle, a sandbag can fall down on your head, because in Elizabethan times, whistling, the crew people whistling would tell them that it's okay to drop the sandbags. In opera, one says "in bocca lupo." Fantastic. Let's talk about that one. In the acting world, we don't say good luck. Good luck will cause the exact opposite of good luck. It will doom you to a fated, horrible show. So we say break a leg. And then there's the origins about where break a leg comes from. Or in French, you say merde, which I really like. So you're saying to an actor, shit, go shit on stage. And then they end up doing much better and having good luck. So the origins of break a leg are questionable. I've heard that it came from the understudies hoping that the actor would break their legs so that they could go on. I don't think that's true. The one that seems the most plausible for me is that to break a leg actually meant to bow in Elizabethan times. Like if you broke your leg, it was because you were bowing. So go out, kill it, and then if there's a standing ovation, then you would break your leg. That was still prevalent when I was in the AJT in New York City was you would leave a light bulb on backstage after the play was over throughout the night. And there was this concept of, and I've heard that in other theaters too, of you need to leave a light on, like you need to leave the light on at night to ward away the evil spirits, like Thespis and all the other evil spirits of acting who want you to fail are going to be hovering around backstage. And it all comes down up to, will you have a great performance or not? Like that's what it's all about. So I say Macbeth and then it's like, oh, it's going to be a terrible night tonight. Or and then we've got to spin around and spit over our shoulders or whatever people think. Or that every theater has a ghost. People really do believe that every theater has a ghost, and there's these ghosts. And they're not benevolent, loving ghosts. They're malevolent. They're the ghosts of actors failed in the past. It's the actors who didn't get the big break, and now they're hovering around backstage to just ruin your performance. So they're all about your performance being good or bad. The other one that is absolutely prevalent, and people talk about it all the time, is about if you have a bad dress rehearsal, you're going to have a good opening night. But if you have a good opening night, you're going to have a poor second show. And then people end up having a really poor opening night. And they're like, oh, it's okay. Tomorrow night will be our opening night, and that'll be the great show. And so it becomes this head game about the good show and the bad show, and when you're going to be good on stage and when you're not going to be good on stage. In Austria, they talk of the bad dress rehearsal anticipating the Austrian miracle of the great performance. Okay, so the Austrians feel the same way. So the whole thing comes down to like a good show or a bad show, or being on or not being on. And that's what interests me. Every actor I meet creates their own culture of superstition. And so that's what I want to know right now. What's your little superstition? Because for a long time, for like 7-8 years, I couldn't go on stage without having, I haven't confessed this to anybody in a long time, I could not go on stage without having M&M peanuts before going on stage in the little yellow bag. Like I'd have to like have one of those. And if I didn't, I was like, oh my God, I'm having a bad night. And early on in my acting career, before I auditioned, a little tune would come in my head. which gratefully I've lost. But it went on for like 5 years. If I was in the audition room and suddenly I went ba da 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 da, I was like, oh, good, the tune came in my head. Oh, I'm gonna have a good audition. So I'd have like the yellow bag of peanut M and M's. I have to see that. I would, I would, my emotional preparation and my vocal warm up and my physical warm up. It was like 50% I'm warming up my voice and my emotions and getting ready, and 50% like a superstition of how to set myself a really good night on stage. Do you know? Um, but I had all sorts of audition superstitions, like which way to park my car and how much coffee I should drink. And oh no, it's true. Yeah, absolutely. When I was first acting, I had all these superstitions, and I think you guys have them too. And I want to hear what they are. Come on, fess them up. But back in the day when I was doing a lot of audition coaching, I would have actors come to me and pay good money to spend an hour with me right before they go to their audition. And it would really occur to me that they're prepared, they're on, they know what they're doing. I would give a note or two, but I would give a note and they'd be like, oh, thank you. Oh yeah, thank you. And I'm like, what is, like, it wasn't about getting coached and doing the best work. It was about being able to touch the teacher before they go on and like have that moment with the teacher. And like, that's just superstition. Do you understand? Yes. For film and TV auditions, I show up early, but then I go to the waiting room last minute. Yes. I do the same thing. I get to my auditions wicked early, and then I hang out and only walk in at 1 minute to my audition time. And also, I never sign in. Signing in's bad luck. I don't know where that comes from, but for me, signing in is bad luck. And for, not anymore, but for years, I wouldn't sign in. And I think that the origination of that for me is because I didn't want to see who else was auditioning for the part. Like I'll go and sign in and I'm like, oh, great. All right, Ethan Hawke is out there, or Lachlan Monroe's auditioning for this. Oh my God, like I'm never gonna get it. So I would avoid the sign-in sheet. And it became kind of a thing that I would do, you know what I mean? I can't be there too early. It's dumb, but I have to exactly the way every time. And I have to do it every single time. Yeah. I also now always bring a cork with me. Okay, don't ask. I won't ask. That's a great one. Yes, some people are like, they have their lucky penny. They have their like, whatever your version of the rabbit's foot is. We have our like you know, I got to go to the bathroom and I look in the mirror and I have a moment where I look at myself. And when I'm going to play, these are fantastic people. Thank you for fessing up. When I'm going to play about an hour before the show, I always walk through my entire blocking, rub my hands together and create heat. I then touch every spot that I land during my blocking. In my head, I'm leaving some of my energy behind in the spot, so it's there for me when I get there. That's wicked. That's great. There's probably some physics in that. I don't know. That's very good. We have all these superstitions. Why more so in acting than, say, real estate or commodities broking or architecture? Why are actors so deeply superstitious? There is something about bringing a good energy to a space. And you know, I actually, in New York, when I was in New York and doing a play, there was a custodian of the theater. Oh man, Mr. Jackson or something. He was an elderly Jamaican dude. And like, I had to go talk to him when I mean, you know, we were opening at 8. So my arrival time for stage was supposed to be like 6:45. I would show up to the theater at like 5 o'clock. I'd eat that same sushi. I'd have the exact same coffee. I would go to have an orange juice from that juice guy, you know, Abdul, and say hi to him. And then I would get to the theater and then I'd walk all the staircases and then I'd put my things out and I would like, you know, I don't know. I had all these superstitions, like so many of them. And one of them was I had to run down and say hi to Mr. Jackson, the custodian, ask him how his wife is and stuff. And you know, and the one night Mr. Jackson wasn't there, I freaked out. Like I freaked out and I had a terrible show. It's like Mr. Jackson's fault, you know? Creative. We are creative. We have very vivid imaginations. We have wildly vivid imaginations. And also because we are narrative based. And so there's this narrative of I have to eat the peanut M&Ms. I have to not say Macbeth. I have to. Do you notice that a lot of the warding off ghosts don't say Macbeth, don't say good luck, that kind of thing is all negative, but a lot of our superstitions become positive. I have to touch this thing before I go on, or it won't work. Grounded. So let's split superstition into two things. One is a belief in some kind of spiritual anomaly or energetic something or other that's going to dawn, touch you, and make you great, which I'm going to remove. And then fun traditions, which allow you to get into your spot. Some people need to listen to that music on their headphones. Some people need to run over and talk to Mr. Jackson to get themselves connected. If you go to talk to Mr. Jackson, because that's what's going to get you grounded, because that dude was this cool Jamaican guy who emigrated to New York City, and he's his custodian, but he put his daughters, I remember this guy, this is from 1995, and but he put his daughters through university, working, and he was a lovely guy. And there's something about him that was so real, and all the stuff in my head was so not real. And so talking to him, on the one hand, was a touchstone into getting myself grounded so I could go out and do my job. The fact that when he wasn't there, I fell apart, that's superstition. You understand? So those are two different things. So you can maintain your habits and your traditions, which I think is great. If it's great. Anything that gets you specifically, and if you know yourself, grounded, so that you can deal with the noises in your head and everything, so that you can relax yourself, so that you can get into the performance is good. But whether or not you're going to have a great performance or not, whether or not you're going to do your job well, whether or not you're going to affect change in the audience, whether or not you're going to allow the story to be told, whether or not you're going to be connected and effective and emotional and doing your job, has nothing to do with any spiritual outside force, somebody saying Macbeth, somebody telling you good luck, the light bulb not having been on, you not having your peanut M&Ms, you not seeing the name of your character on a truck drive by right before your audition. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my gosh, it's that, whenever I see that actor, I always do well in my auditions, or it's not sunny out, how am I going to affect change today? Or all of those things. Superstitions are also a reason to fail. It's a setup for you to fail, because you're putting the power and the authority in something outside of yourself. So, the answer to superstitions is be incredibly prepared. So Martin wrote, my superstition is to like prepare my scene and analyze my scene. I'm like, well, that's your job. So know your script unbelievably. Your dialogue is seared into your head. Your emotional preparation is prepared. And then do all the things you need to do today to make sure that you're fresh and flowing and connected, and you can surrender in front of the camera or on the stage. And if that requires certain things that really help for you, which is you bring a buddy to an audition. I don't think it's a superstition that I always want to have somebody with me at my audition. It has a superstition element maybe to it. Like, oh my God, if I don't have somebody, I'm going to completely fail. Then I don't think that's true. But I do much better when I have somebody with me at my audition, because it keeps me connected and it keeps me out of my head, and it sets me up for a better performance. So that tradition is set up on knowing myself and knowing what's best for me. I don't think having to circle around 3 times, spit, hope the sun comes out, and touch your lucky dollar bill is gonna do much for your acting. I think you need to be incredibly prepared. I don't think that Friday the 13th is gonna be a bad night, or your second night should be a bad night. By the way, so the whole concept of failure from superstition needs to be removed. And if I don't do this thing, then I'm going to go, it won't work. But the idea of I got to get myself out of my head, get connected, do my job, do it well, absolutely. So you work unbelievably hard at your script analysis, at your emotional preparation, at getting yourself out of your way. You get yourself prepared, and then you go. And when you're having a great day, awesome. And when you're having a day where you go, oh, I'm kind of stuck in my head, then do what it takes to get yourself out, which might be talking to Mr. Jackson, going for a walk, bringing an audition buddy. But it's not it's never a setup for failure. So like you need to know that you're an actor. Like it's not about whether the gods are touching you and you're going to be great. It's about, is the audience going to get what they need tonight? Just get on stage and say the dialogue and mean it and hit your emotionality and affect your partner. Like the superstitions are feeding the insecurity system. You know, get on out there. I certainly hope that the surgeon isn't as superstitious as an actor, because if the surgeon's like, oh no, I'm not in the OR number 3, or the broom closet door was closed, I'm gonna kill this guy, I think that would be a pretty awkward way to be a surgeon. Just walk out, say the dialogue, and do your job and do it well. So be prepared with your script, be prepared with your emotions, understand your dialogue, know your moments, have worked till you're blue in the face so that you can't fail, so superstitions can't take over. However, the last thing would be, we are susceptible because we're creative and we're imaginative and we're narrative based and we're insecure, and so we set up these little traditions. So if you can set up these little traditions, great. But what I would do is I would keep reinventing the traditions so you don't get stuck in one. So, you know, peanut M&Ms is your thing, and then it becomes like this kind of coffee, and then it becomes like, and then just sort of keep reinventing them, because in your rational brain, you know it's bunk, and it's just trying to get yourself grounded. That's right, everybody. Break a leg on this Friday the 13th.
Actors are very superstitious. On no account mention the word Macbeth this evening, all right? Why not? It brings them bad luck and it makes them very unhappy. Oh, so you won't be mentioning it either? No. Well, not very often. You should have knocked. Oh, knocked, you impertinent butler. We're loud enough to wake the hounds of hell. Lead on, Macbeth. I shall. Lest you continue in your quotation and mention the name of the Scottish play. No, never fear, I shan't do that. By the Scottish play, I assume you mean Macbeth. Trade to office stores, but we may come in. What was that? You were exorcising evil spirits. Being but a mere butler, you will not know the great theatre tradition that one does never speak the name of the Scottish play. What, Macbeth? Potato officer calls, but will make amends. Oh, do you mean you have to do that every time I say Macbeth? Potato officer calls, but will make amends. Will you please stop saying that? Always call it the Scottish play. So you want me to say it's the Scottish play? Yes! Rather than Macbeth. Potato officer calls, but will make amends. Say, what is all this hullabaloo, all this shouting and screaming and yelling blue murder? Why, it's like that play we saw the other day. What's it called? Macbeth? No. It was called Julius Caesar. Oh, yes, of course. Julius Caesar. Not Macbeth.